Hello. Happy Wednesday. As usual, let me know if you cannot hear me for some reason. I do see you guys have already been kind of chit-chatting in the comments, and there's a lot of people from Ohio here today, which is super fun. Um, oh, Susan, we've had plenty of rain in East Tennessee. Yeah, we haven't really had any rain, and we don't have any rain in the forecast this week. I'm not going to complain about it though, because we've had cold weather here. Like, it's been chilly. So I'm hoping, like, just to get one last nice week. But yeah, so Naomi is trying to decide if a chickadee from Lovely Layers winter birds can be used on Christmas cards. Yeah, girl, yeah, they're winter birds. Use them. Also, it's your card. Do what you want. Do whatever you want. Okay. So I did do a smidge of pre-planning, like one iota. Because you know me, I'm over here just so I'm gonna clean off. Oh look, Dawn's here. Hi, Dawn. Um, I am going to um oh, I gotta scoop myself in. Okay. I'm gonna clean these off while we chit chat a little bit about what we're gonna be doing. Um, Hi, Maria. Hi, Cindy. So it is, even though I am clinging desperately to summer, you guys know that I am. Um, I have pulled out some spooky items. And I know not everybody is here for spooky season. I understand that. But if you are a person who's like, I don't love spooky season, which is totally cool, I get it. Um, you can still learn some techniques that you can use for other things that are not just spooky season. So, and we have Betsy with us today. I love when Betsy joins. Um, because I don't know what I'm doing and I feel like I have a little backup. Oh Lord. Um, okay, so I did stamp some things out before I got on. Cleaning. Yeah, Dawn, I know you love spooky season. I didn't know you were going to be here today, but I do know Dawn does love the spooky season. So I am using older products. If you guys watched my channel before I started doing the lives here for Honeybee, you know I'm a big fan of using the older products because we paid for them. And so we want to use the things that we invested in. So, Betsy, you do help with that. You do help with that. Okay. So there's a couple of different ones that I have pulled out. Hi Cassidy, it's nice to see you again. So I'm not like I have an idea in my head of how I think I want this to go, but I feel like maybe I've overshot. Maybe there's too many things in my head for them to be able to come together cohesively. So we'll see. We'll see how it works out. This is a different stamp set. As soon as I'm done putting these away, I will show you the stamp sets um in all of their entirety. Like I know you're getting to see like little snippets of them and stuff. But I sometimes I feel like because um there's so much good stuff in the releases, sometimes the more like well, I don't want to say holiday because like Christmas is huge. But like the smaller holidays or like maybe the more like niche down holidays kind of get overlooked because people are like, well, what am I going to do with that? Um, after the fact. But there's some of these that are just so cute. Um, I am I don't know if anybody else feels this way. We're just gonna have a little chit chat. So I am a mom who works from home in my 40s, which means I do not have a lot of opportunity for interaction with other people in my real life. Okay. So I know that there are other people who, like you work outside of your house, or maybe your kids are in sports, or like my kids are in things, but like my kid is in guitar lessons. I'm meeting nobody at guitar lessons. Just so we're clear. No one. Because I'm not staying there. Because basically I just drop them off and then I come back and I sit in the parking lot and pick them up in 45 minutes because there's not enough room for people to hang out in the lobby. Um, all right. So now let's look at what we're doing here. All right. So this is the Happy Halloween set. These all have coordinating dies. If I don't show the dies, it's just because they're kind of like all over in the deck. So, but this does have coordinating dies. The dies, there is no die for the spider web, but there's dies for all of the stuff down here. Then this one came out last year. And this is the Halloween set. So these are all solid images. These also have dies. Um, these ones I was able to locate. So these also have dies. And then this one, where's the backer for this one? Oh, here it is. This is If the Broom Fits, which I have done I did a video on when like the a year before, 2 years ago when this one came out. So there's this one, and this one also has the coordinating guys. And then this little guy, oh, that's why I couldn't find them, because this is a smaller. So this little guy is like the sentiments, which are totally adorable. I love the little hocus pocus one. That's probably the one I used. Oh, look at Witch Please. I probably did use that one too, because that totally matches my vibe. So anyway, so the idea that I had is to do a little scene um with these. So anyway, back to my story. Um, so like I don't necessarily get to like get out and interact. So I joined a book club to force myself to get out of the house. This was um last year. Nope, year before last. So here I've stamped them out. So these I've stamped in black. We are going to color these, not the tree, obviously, it's solid black. But we are going to color these little elements. And then I stamped the moon and the clouds and the cat in our no line ink. The reason this one's darker is because my stamp was dirty. Don't judge me. And so I stamped these. And then I also stamped them here, the moon and the clouds, on a masking sheet. So I am going to die cut them out because we're going to be doing a little ink blending. So here is what I'm thinking. I'm going to use these little wood frame builder dies. As you can see, my packaging is very well loved. So I'm going to create like a little doorway with my wood frame and have my little witch like peeking out, and then like some scenery in the background with some like ink blending. And I think that'll be really, really cute. So that is the game plan for what we're doing today. Um, so anyway, uh, like since I don't get to go out and meet people and my book club closed, and I've been looking for a book club like to get back out and meet people and have conversation and whatever. And then like Dawn had said people are overrated. I basically have found the same thing to be true. So instead of finding a book club to join, I'm just making my own. And I am doing I am doing it with people in my life that I already like. So my sisters, my nieces, like we're gonna start small and see like how things go from there. Um, and then, if there's people who, like they're friends with or whatever, who they want to invite, like I wouldn't be opposed to that. But we're just gonna start with people we know. All right, so can we join virtually? But you have to read the book, Dawn. I'm lying. You don't. I've already told my in fact, my niece Becca, she's engaged to my nephew. So we were talking about it. And we were trying to like find a day that worked. And we were like, oh, Wednesdays, Fridays don't work, blah, 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 blah. What about Thursdays? And Thursdays seem to be working for everyone. So I was like, Becca, does Thursdays work for you? And she was like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like, no. She was like, oh no, I'm not doing this. And I started laughing and I was like, you don't want you don't want to join our book club? And she goes, "Oh, I'd love to join your book club, and I'd love to come hang out with y'all." She is from Tennessee. She was like, "But I know me, and I will say that I'm going to read the book. I will not read the book whatsoever, and then, I'll show up and I won't have read the book." And I was like, "Girl, your mother-in-law ain't going to read the book neither. So just come." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And we're going to do like fun theme nights, like s'mores bars and like dip night and stuff like that, just to have an excuse to hang out with people we like. And that's that. That's what we're doing. What kind of books do you read? Sherry wants to know. I will read literally anything. I have always been quite the reader. I don't want to have to put a thing down here because I don't want it to be a window. So I might need to find a slightly longer one. Um, So I will read anything. My favorite author is Stephen King, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, he writes horror books," and some of them are, but some of them aren't. So I do very much enjoy his books. But yes, Dawn, I would let you join virtually if you wanted to. All right, so these are going to be long enough to hang off, and that is in fact what I want. Because we're just going to create like this little doorway. And then this will be ground. This will be sky. I see. That's what I'm talking about. I think I maybe have too many items that I want to fit into one scene. Um, so we'll see how that goes. This moon is going to be way too big, and I probably won't be able to fit in the clouds either. Maybe I can do a smaller moon. Is there a smaller moon in any of these sets? Or if there is not a smaller moon, I may have to get a circle die. Let me look. Because sometimes, guys, when we're creating on the fly here, we gotta. There is not a smaller moon. I like that big moon. I'm gonna have to use that big moon for something else. Lisa loves Stephen King. Lisa, what is your favorite Stephen King book? I would love to know. I am going to get a circle die. I am wearing my pajama pants. Again, don't judge me. If you're judgy, this isn't the place for you anyway. Okay. Here we go. So let me a smaller moon like that. A smaller moon like that. I think that would be good. Okay, we're gonna use that. We're just gonna cut that out of some masking tape. All right. So now I stamped out all these things. I don't even need them. I do still want the cat though. I am going to die cut this out and I'm going to die cut these out. Um, I am going to die cut these out of this paper so that I do not waste it because I am cheap. All right, so now that we're going to get into the creating, I am going to, is blurry anyway, so you won't miss me. I'm going to take my face off of the screen. Um, will these fit in here? They will. And then maybe one over here. So I don't cut into the cat. I still want the cat. There we go, like that. So, okay, I'm going to take my face off. And then I'm going to have to, I got a die cut. Okay. Here we are. I read a lot, but I've never read Stephen King. I'm a chicken. So, Stephen King isn't for everyone. A lot of his books are much more sci-fi than they are like horror novels. The Talisman and Dreamcatcher. I really did like Dreamcatcher, and I that's one of the ones that they turned into movie that was like super well done, excellent. But there's also like a lot of like movies out there that people don't even realize are by him. I'm totally gonna date myself because I mean Stephen King's been around for a really long time, and most people probably won't know these. So that back in the 80s, there was a movie that came out with all the well, it had I always mix them up. Corey Feldman, Haim, Corey Feldman, Corey Feldman. It had Jerry O'Connell in it. Anyway, the name of the story is The Body. The name of the movie is Stand By Me. And it was an excellent one. The Green Mile is Stephen King. The Shawshank Redemption is Stephen King. Um, there's just a lot of ones that are out there that people are like, that's not even like I would not even associate that with him. So here, these little edges on the bottom are hanging off, but it doesn't matter because I need them to hang off my card anyway. And then I'm going to cut my little moon out of, um, well, I know you know Stand By Me, girl. I know you do, but not everybody does. um, so, all right. So we're going to die cut those, then we'll color these and then die cut those as well. We do still need to do an ink blended background. So maybe we'll do that first. I'm trying to get all the things on there, because I have an idea. You know how that happens? Just like you see your card in your mind and you're like, I don't know what I need to do to get there, but I'm gonna have to do something. My plates are so dirty. I don't even know what makes them that dirty, but they are dirty. There's no denying it. All right. Frames. He did do a sequel called The Black House. I have read both of them. Your card never comes out the way I have in my head. Well, sometimes that does happen, but that's an opportunity to learn. All right, I need to get this off of here. Yummy. All right, there we go. So that's that. That's all three of those pieces. These three pieces need to be colored. But before those three pieces need to be colored, I need to um mark them out. Oh, yes, I was definitely talking to myself. It's a side effect of working from home by yourself. uh, you just you talk to yourself. All right. So let's get our doorway so I can mark it. So I know where to put I need to come down. And you need to come down. and you will fit across here. Like, I gotta make sure I get my doorway straight. Gotta get my edges squared off here, which in real life is really very hard. Okay, there we go. Why you gotta be like that? I don't want my doorway to be wonky. See, and it's already wonky. And this is why I get this is why I get frustrated with die cuts. But we are going to make this work. All right, so now this one is lined up with that one. I'm going to take that down. And then I'm going to do this one across. Little piece of tape. Just stay where I put you. I know a wonky doorway works, Dawn, and I do appreciate your encouragement, but I don't want a wonky doorway. All right. Okay. That is close enough for government work. All right. So now I'm going to put my moon. For some reason, I see. Yeah, I'm going to put my moon over here. Even though that is like the opposite of what I would normally do, I'm still going to do it. I think actually I'm going to tuck it up underneath here so we only see part of the moon. Okay. Alrighty. So now I'm not going to be overly worried about the outside of my doorway. Um, Oh yes, Bonnie, the class I'm teaching for SCT, yeah, it is all die cuts. You are correct. I had nothing to do had nothing to do with the planning of that. I was just given the product. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the outside. I'm just going to do it all the same because I can color that in later on and not have to worry about it. Okay, so for my ink blending, I'm going to move this so that I don't accidentally get color on it. We are going to do the distress inks. And now actually that I'm thinking of it, we'll need, which I did not grab. Um, I think I'm gonna need a brown, but I think I have a brown over in my photography area because I did the wood card for my husband. Okay, so the reason why the brushes are good for things like this is because you can be super light-handed. So I'm actually going to start over here and bring it in. This is my light source. So I want my sky to be really, really light around that so that the moon is, emitting this light, and it should all be coming from here. I genuinely do think that the SCT, like Betsy just said, it's often die cut heavy. I think that it is that way because that is what people want. Like just in right now where like crafting is at, dyes are much more popular than they ever were. And they are in most cases more popular than stamps. Um, but I'm a stamp girly forever and ever. Okay. So I left this area pretty light around here, but remember I do all of my ink blending twice. So we're gonna come back around to it. You can do your sky, whatever color you like. Blue is my boyfriend, and I do enjoy a true blue. So we're just gonna keep kind of layering on that color. It's also more likely for everyone to achieve consistent results when it's die cuts. That is true, Dawn. That is an excellent point. If you're die cutting like out of colored cardstock and then um, just, piecing them together, it is definitely way more consistent. I have really long hair. Felt something on my arm yesterday driving home. Thought my hair was moving from the AC vent, but oh, girl, no. No, ma'am. She has spider on her. Nope. My vehicle would be in a ditch. My husband would have had to come get me. Nope. 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 Okay. And then we're going to just keep on trucking right to the next color. That happened to a girl in the office, and it was a bat. It was a bat? Oh my gosh. When I worked outside of the house, one of the like as a dispatcher, obviously you can never leave the radio or the phones unmanned. And when you work for a smaller department like I did, it meant that you always had to have someone watching the radio if you needed to go to the bathroom or run out to your car or whatever. So I was working with a girl the one day, and obviously I don't have to tell you guys that law enforcement is a male dominated field, and she had to go out to her car for something, and she was on her way in through the back door, which go like cut right through the squad room, and she was like, oh my, like she was like, when she got back into dispatch, she was like so like breathless and like half dressed, and I was like, girl, what into you? And she was like, I was on my way outside to the car, and like I felt something inside my shirt, and I just figured it was a hair. Like, how sometimes, your hair gets stuck inside your shirt or whatever. She was like, so I didn't think anything of it. And then I was on my way back into the building and I still felt it. And like when I went to go like touch it, she was like, it started moving. She's literally in the middle of the squad room trying to like take her shirt off at work because there was indeed a spider inside of her shirt. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was like, oh my God. I was like, or like all the guys back there. And she was like, no, thankfully they weren't. She was like, but honestly, I would not have cared. She was like, I would not have cared. Like the shirt would have been coming off one way or the other. And I honestly don't blame her. Okay. Just want a little bit of color back there, not anything crazy. Okay. Yeah, Susan, that was her sentiments exactly. Like just off with the shirt. Okay. So obviously we're getting closer and closer to our light source, but in order to maintain like that kind of brightness, which I like, not everybody does. I just stuck my pinky right in that. In order to maintain the brightness, um, I do go over the whole thing that also, um, go over it to help saturate the color of my ink blending. Oh, yeah, so you guys are talking about snakes. I snakes don't super bother me, but maybe that's probably because I live in an area where, like, you know, rattlesnakes or copperheads, like, that's not common up here, um, so I don't really get bothered by them. My husband, on the other hand, is super bothered by them. So, as any loving wife would do, I take the opportunity to send him snake reels whenever I stumble across one. All right, so now we're back to the lightest color. And again, we're going to make sure we're still going over everything. Okay. And you can totally tell the difference between them. Like, adding that salty ocean is definitely giving us a brighter blue. So I'm not going all the way up to the mask. It does get a little tricky kind of in these smaller areas, like over here. I'm not overly worried about it because I know that we're going to be changing that up since it's the outside. All right. So I'm not going to add any more ink to this. I'm just kind of going to lightly go over the circle with what's on it because I need there to be something um for this to show up as bright white. So, okay. Susan, are you using the same brush for all colors or are you switching brushes? I am switching brushes. So everybody is different and I know a lot of people um just use like whatever they have. Like if it's a blue and it's in the blue family. And that is true for me for some of the things. But if I have um a combination that I use a lot. Like, for example, for this one, I do a lot of scene cards, so I do have a lot of skies and things like that. Then I do have separate ones for that. Colors I don't use a lot, like maybe like a red or something like that, I will use the same one for just whatever works for you and whatever works within your budget. Okay, so now nobody is shocked here. We're going to do a little bit of spattering because um, that is how I roll. So this already has perfect pearls in it. So I'm just going to reactivate that. If you were starting from scratch, if you had no perfect pearls in there, you would just take it, if I get it open. And then I typically just like scoop some out with the back, put it in there, add a little bit of water and mix it up. But I have some that's dried in there, so I don't need um to do that. Body, I actually use four. I use one for Salty Ocean, one for Blueprint Sketch, one for Chip Sapphire, and one for Black Soot. Okay, so I'm just gonna make like a little puddle of water. because these are distress inks and they react with water, you can get kind of like distant stars in the background by using just water. And then if you mix in your perfect pearls, or whatever other, Lindy's has a shimmer powder, um whatever other shimmer that you got going on, a metallic watercolor would work. um and then, so when you first flick, those are your biggest droplets. I want mine to look like stars, so I flicked a little bit off before I brought it to the paper. Okay, so I'm going to be happy with that, I think. And we'll show you just what that looks like. I am going to, if I can find it, where's my die release tool? What did I do with it? I need my poker. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to use my tweezers because I can't find my poker. So, have you tried Altenew alcohol markers? Yes, I have. I've actually taught several classes for them using their markers. A couple of them are under Latavola, which was my name previously. And then I did one for them. Oh my gosh, was that last year or the beginning of this year? I can't remember. I feel like it was last year. I taught one for them. Um, Okay, so here we can see like how even though we did it super light, like we still have that little bit of that moon. So we're gonna set this aside to dry, and then we're gonna work on our other coloring. So I do need these because we are going to color them. So I didn't like there are 2 feet. There are like 2 feet and everything in there. But I need to wipe this up. Um, I didn't stamp 2 feet because I wanted her to be like sneaking out the door. You know what I'm saying? And then this tree we might not even end up using. I might just stamp it into the background. We'll have to see how it goes once we get everything together. All right. So we know when we're putting it together, other way around, they don't have refills for all the colors, which is off-putting. I think that they do. I think they just call them different names. Okay. So the reason I have to set the door back up again is because I need to pay attention to my light source. So my light source is up here in the top left corner, which means this part is going to be very light. That's going to catch a lot of the light, which will put my shadow over here on this side. Uh, You wanted a one leg witch? It's okay. I did. Yeah, you're only going to see one leg. I emailed to confirm. They said they don't have them and no plans to come out with them. That is wild. I had somebody who once reached out to me about a refill that they were looking for. And they told me that it was removed by accident. Like the refill was removed by accident. So I'm really shocked that they're on there. Um So last night I was coloring with my Olos and had 2 different markers leak. Never had that happen before, but there's only one opening. Not sure how to equalize them in Copics. Brandon, I have had that happen, and I did reach out to my contact at Olo, and they said that like does not happen very often, and it should not be happening with the new markers. So I would send them an email because they sent me a replacement for mine. All right, we need a 53. There we go. Okay. 53, 55, 57. Yeah. All right, let me bring these up here. These are the colors that we're using. Maria, I'm confused. I thought the light would be lighter where the sun is facing. Okay. So because the light source is up here, okay, I can't remember who told me who told me that they did this, but they did like a little sun with the rays and it made so much sense. I just gotta find a scrap piece of paper to do it with. Okay, let's use this one. Nope, that's too big. Oh, you're born and raised in Mount Vernon. It was such an adorable little town. She's referring to my husband and I went to Mount Vernon, Ohio for our wedding anniversary. All right, so we still need this cat, so I can't draw on the cat, but I can. So if this is our moon, okay, or sun or whatever, then the rays are coming off like this. So it would be hitting this side of the door. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with my lightest color. So I know this part is going to be super light because that's where my moon is going to be hitting. This part will be a little bit lighter because there's light on the outside, and then this part will be a little bit lighter. The lightest portion though will be this, and I know that it's hard to see right now, but just hang tight. I did see the dog fountain and I took a picture and I took a picture of the dog fountain, but it was really sad because there was no dogs that looked like Molly or Emma. Okay, so this is going to be where my shadow is, right here on the, and then on this side, and up here. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of bring this in because this is where they're meeting. So just like anything else that we've talked about where 2 points meet, we are going to have that little bit of extra shadow. All right. These ones will be a bit darker. So we're only just going to have that light on the side where it's kind of like backlit. And this one will probably be a bit lighter, like in the corner here, a little darker over there. Not many card makers use Ohuhu, and it's disheartening when you can't get the exact look that you want. I totally understand that. Like, I do get it. Um, they kind of came on the scene a little bit later, so I think that you're probably more likely to find people who are using them now. But like for myself, this is not nearly dark enough, and I can already tell. Um, like since this is and I invested in Copics before this was even my job. And I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm just saying that that was the part of creating that I enjoyed the most was coloring. So that is where I invested my money. And I did not buy them all at one time. I still do not own all of them. Um, and I don't know that I ever will, but I do understand how it can be challenging if you're not getting the um the look that you want. You just kind of got to do the best you can with what you got. Okay. So most of the time after I go through and do them once, I will end up having like I will try them over here on my little scene and see how I'm feeling about them. I'm just gonna lay it up there just so we can get so definitely still too light. Okay. And this is like one of those things where like we talk about how, using your darks um is going to help you get that more dimensional look. Um Dawn, I think most people think you need a ton of markers, but you really don't. That is true. You don't need um a ton of markers. You can get a I mean, I have several videos on, how you can get dimensional coloring with, just, 5 or 7 colors from different color families and how you can layer them to create dimension. All right. This one has to be refilled, unfortunately. Here we go. I probably need to refill all of them, but we're only going to do the ones that I absolutely have to right now since we're in the middle of a live. Yeah, using 80-pound cards, like people, not that there's anything wrong with 110-pound, there isn't. They're great for card bases, but that's not necessarily the best way to get good blends for your coloring because they blend in the fibers of your paper. You're just creating a situation where you have to put down more ink to get a better blend. What am I doing? There we go. And we are doing some scene building. All right. This one is the one that we are going to do, not as dark. I have two of these. I have two of these markers. This is one of the ones that like my son took, and then I thought it was gone forever, so I ordered a new one, and then it turned out it was just in his bedroom. All right. Did you count ink drops or just fill it? I count the ink drops. Usually, like if it's dry, I'm going for like 15 to 20 to start, and then I watch the nib. This time I didn't go that high. I was just trying to get through. All right, so now let's see if that is a little bit better. Okay. Still think this is too light, but I do think we're getting there. And then this part should be the lightest, kind of like where it's peeking out from here. Yeah, but I still think I want this to be darker. So I'm just going to go in. Yeah, Olo did just announce that they are going to be releasing another 96 colors. Um, so they're doing, I think, pre-sales for that now. I do not know off the top of my head when that will when that entirety will be released. All right. But thankfully, you can buy them individually, just like you can with the Copic. So you can get the set. I think they have a 10% off right now. Um, all right, I am liking that better. Okay. Part of the reason why I'm so thrown off is because my light source is typically in my top right-hand corner, but I want my witch to be hanging out over here. So whatever. I did it to myself, y'all. Let me. All right. I gotta wait for it to dry. All right. So we're gonna start with the coloring of the things that are black. So if you want something to be black, you do indeed have to put black into it. I know it is scary, but you are brave and we can do it. Okay. So these are the ones that I'm using for this. So I'm going to color my black cat. Now my black cat is meant to be stamped solid, which is fine. My black cat is also facing to the right. So I know that I'm going to put this in the bottom left-hand corner of my doorway. So my rays are going to be coming like this. So the darkest portion of my cat is going to be over here, but we do like to pay attention to the fact that there is some backlighting. So that means it's going to be darkest in the middle. It looks crazy when we're doing it. Just trust the process. And we're going to go around those little eyeballs. We want to keep that outside edge. This type of card is not the kind of card where we're doing all the details because it's backlit. So this would be dark here. And then this would be dark here. And then this would catch some light. This would be dark here. Okay. Now, we're gonna go right over that black. This is the C9, and we're just gonna start going over those edges, getting closer to that stamp edge line. And it's gonna look like we are coloring with the same color until we're not. Okay. Fill in the rest of that. And the majority of this. So we still have like a little halo around our cat. and that will be for our final color with the C5. Once again, make sure you're overlapping the previous color. So that way they are blending. And some areas, like down in here, like you may not even take it all the way out to the C5. You may just stop at the C7 because there's not a lot of light coming through there. His tail's pretty close to his tushy. Okay. I need to pick this up so you can see. And then I think I'm just going to do, let's see, what's the color of this one there? I do need to see one. And sometimes it's hard to see everything come together until it's all in the scene. Where is my C1? There it is. Okay. So for the whites of the eyes, I am just gonna go in with the C1 just super quick. And then I am going to use YG60. Where's my YG17? It would probably be easier to see if some of these were put away. There it is. Okay. And I am going to do the YG03. I'm just going to do a dot in the middle of the eyes. And that's it. All right. So now he's done. We're moving on to the next thing. I'm going to go back to my blacks. And we're going to do the hat. So the hat is coming out of the doorway, out of the right-hand doorway, which means the light source is coming in this way. So our shadows are going to be on this side. Okay. I am going to see how this comes up. It gives us an opportunity to put in a little curve here to help give the hat some more shape. Same thing here, like we can go in and do a little triangle, and it will help this to look like it is raised. For these here, even though the light source is going to be hitting that right up at the top, there is still going to be some shadow where this thing is kind of crumpling on itself. We're just not going to put in as much. So we still want there to be. And when we're coloring, most of the time what we see the most of is our midtones. So bring that up there, bring it out here. Okay. So Kathy, I have a video where we talk about just coloring things black. Um, and how to get like a good grasp of how to do that um, on my own channel. So here we are only leaving the white for the lightest part. And this is another one of those things that you may find once you get it into the scene that you do need to go darker, but we won't know until we're in it. Okay. So let me pick this up so you can see, we maintained the bends and folds and all of those things. I don't like this right here. I'm just going to go over that again so I can get it to be a little bit of a smoother blend. Okay. So then I'm going to do the other thing I'm going to do black is her shoes. And again, our light source is coming in this way. So this back here is going to be dark. Follow that all the way down the heel. This is underneath. So this is all going to be dark. And this is also inside her shoe, like the inside, like tongue of the shoe. And so then we're going to blend that out. A little bit of darkness there where the kind of the toe curls up. Okay. And then this is that lightest color to catch those kind of high points. Okay. And I will pick you up so that you can see. All right. So I think that's for the black items. Now for this skull and crossbones, I do want to color them white, but we have to remember that they are in a shadow scene. So when we're coloring something white, we're adding the shadows, but this is going to be pretty shadowed. So even though it's white, we're still going to go in there with some darker grays, and we're just going to make sure that we are leaving some highlights. Okay, there's that. And then I'll have to add the shadows for how one is laying over the other once I get them together. Okay. There we go. I know it looks like we're just coloring them gray, but I promise you, once they get in the scene, once they get in the scene, it'll be better. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to use those browns we used for the doorway, and I am going to color the handle of the broom. So I think I'm going to put that on the right-hand side. So I'm going to do the shadows. So I'm going to put it by my little witch clothes, I think. Okay. All right, there's that. Okay. And then I'm gonna do there it is. Okay. So I'm gonna do a combination. Um, yes, it's an E59. It's the walnut. Um, so I'm gonna do a combination of the browns and the yellows. Um, so that it still looks like a broom, but it still has that darkness. So I'm gonna go. These are the same dark browns that I was using up there, and where this kind of dips in, I am adding a little bit of shadow as well. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the E57. So far everything is the same as the handle. I'm just kind of flicking that color out there. But then I'm going to switch to an E99, which is typically the darkest color that I use for my yellows. And remember, we want to go over the previous color. This is what's going to help them blend together. And then I'm going to do the YR24, which is normally my mid-tone. I'm going to do that as my lightest color. And I will pick that up. Oh, I didn't even show it to you. Lord have mercy. I didn't even pay attention to where I was at. All right, so now I do believe the last time that I did this, I did her skirt purple and her leggings green. So I think this time I'm going to flip it. I don't know. I just feel like purple and green are, I don't, I mean, I guess I could do orange. Let's vote on a color combo. So we have a neon green, which is associated with Halloween, a purple, an orange. What color combinations would we like to see here? Purple and green, orange and purple, green and purple, orange and purple, orange and purple. All right, I think orange and purple is winning, guys. All right. All right. So now I gotta find my. Now I gotta find my colors. All right. I need to. I'm gonna have to use the browns, I think. All right. Yep. 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 Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do purple leggings, and we're gonna do an orange skirt. So first things first, I'm gonna grab my little, because I want my purple to be dark. Not that a D09 isn't dark, it is dark, but I want it to be a little bit darker than that. I grabbed the B99 originally, and I think that that will work. Okay. So in order to do a striped legging, if we do, like, we're going to do purple and white. So here's the easiest way to do anything that, like, candy canes where you have white stripes, or clothing where you have white stripes, anything where you want to do a white stripe, it's easier to just color the whole thing white. So for my white, I'm going to use my C1, C3, and C5. I'm just going to be a little bit more heavy handed with my 5 than I normally would be because it is a night scene. So remember, our light source is coming in this way. So we're going to blend this out and then to the C3. And I know it seems like a striking shadow, but that's okay. And then this is the C1. Okay. And I just left the true white on the edge. So now to go in with my purple, it's going to be so much easier to just go in and color the sections purple than it would be to go purple, white, purple, white, purple, white. So I have chose trying to get them all sorted. All right, so this is gonna even though it's not a violet, I am gonna use it as my darkest color because it's going to help make my VO9 just a little bit darker. So we're gonna go this one, I think, and then skip that one, this one, skip that one, this one, skip this one. Okay. So then now when I'm adding um my purple, I'm gonna go over that blue entirely because we don't want it to look blue. We just want it to be a deeper shade of violet. And then our VO6, this last little one down here, I'm just going to fill that whole thing in. And then our lightest color is going to be that VO4. Okay. So again, our shadows are matching. Um, where it looks white now, right? Because we put another color with it, so it looks like it is purple and white striped. I'm also going to do her little ribbon up here at the top purple to kind of tie that in. So her little waistband, uh, which honestly, I don't even think we're going to get to see. I don't even think we're going to get to see a lot of because it's going to be kind of tucked behind the doorway. But nonetheless, we're doing the thing. All right. And again, we're going to go over that blue. These are going to be darker because it's further away from our light source. That's going to be all dark. So remember, we're just leaving the littlest bit of highlight for our lightest color. Okay. So that will maybe tie some things in. Now, orange. Orange is like yellow, where it's a little bit tricky to get like a good orange when you're looking for like a deeper, richer color because it's just naturally so bright. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some browns um, to help us with our orange. So this is going to look crazy. I don't know what of these browns yet I'm going to be using, but I do know that I'm going to have to use some of them. So I'm going to start with the darkest one. I'm going to start with the E29. And we have to keep our light source in mind. Remember, everything's coming in this way, but also there's a lot the shape of this. And if you are interested in like the idiosyncrasies of the shape of this, I would highly recommend that you watch the other video I have, which features this set. So here, before I do my light source shading, I'm going to go in and do the shading for my clothing. So this is going to come up because this is raised. This is down. So we're going to add that darkness there. This is on top. This is down. So we have what we call our peaks and valleys. Your valleys are going to have your darkest color. And then this one, there it isn't one way or the other. So we're just going to put a little triangle here to help give it a little bit more shape and a little bit more lift. Now, I find it easiest to turn my paper so that I can add some shading from down here. And so what I want to do is I want to go in between those triangles that I've put down because it can't all be lifted. Okay. And already we can see we're starting to get some shape. So I think from there, let me try the 39. Oh yeah. Okay. So I don't need the 57. I'm going to go in with an E39 next because this is warm. This is a warm brown, which is going to play really nicely with our oranges. And so we're going to extend this out. We're going to get these little fold over pieces and extend out our darks. But then we're also going to add a little bit of this into the middle of the top sections. Okay. All right. So now this might be a little bit too, this might take over. Nope, it's okay. Wonderful. All right. So this is the YR09. We're blending this into the E39. The reason that I chose those is that it should work because they all end in 9. That is only the case for Copic markers. I don't know how the other, I haven't figured out the trick for blending the other ones yet. So we're just going over everything. This feels very Cleveland Brownsish, which I got to tell you, my husband would probably love, but I am, bleh. I am no thank you. All right. So and then the lightest color. So sometimes it helps when I did go out of the lines there, just so you know, we're not, nobody's perfect around here. So sometimes it helps to do what you know first. So, like, I know how to add shading to a skirt to make it look dimensional. So I've colored the whole thing that way. And so sometimes it helps to do this first and then do your light source. And I know that it seems like, well, like, Kelly, why would I do all that work? Because sometimes your brain just needs you to until you learn how to do it. Um, and you build that muscle memory. So now I know my light source is coming in this way, okay? Which means a lot of this is going to be dark. So I'm back to that E29. And so I'm going to be adding a lot more dark because it's further away from my light source. So this is going to be pretty dark back here. And then this part up here, we're going to have some high areas where it is definitely going to start catching the light. But this is dark. It's back behind the doorway. I'm still gonna go over this with my oranges because I still want this to read as orange. I don't want it to read as brown. But sometimes just doing that first part helps my brain to be like, "Okay, so this is how it's supposed to look. Now how would I change it to make it dark?" So now here we are, these parts, these lightest parts, um, are gonna be the part where it's going to catch the light, and these parts will remain in the darkness. Okay, so now that's pretty much all of the coloring that we have to do. I'm not overly worried about coloring outside of the lines here because remember, I'm gonna have to blend this back into my scene. So let's get the die cutting underway, and then we'll see what other stamping we need to do. All right, I need you, I need you, I need you. Okay. You can totally use marker brand as long as they're all always. That is 100% true. Yeah. So if you're like, hey, I started with Copics, but I'm struggling with building up that collection, no worries. Just you can use what you have and switch them. You can switch to Olos or you can switch to the Ohuhus. Ohuhus. We're going to die cut this. I did color it, but it might end up being one of those situations where we just stamp it onto the card directly, um, and use the cat for something else another time. You never know. At this angle, the hat looks like a wig. Oh, Dawn. All right, so it's this one here, the skirt, the left foot. What else? I need, oh, this crossbones and the skull and the broom. And did I have a bat in this? Yep, there's a bat there. And that's that from here. Okay. These are my spiders that I still don't know even 100% what I'm doing with them. But I'm going to cut them out anyway. Where's my long one? All right. And then so let me find this. I think this one is supposed to cut it out with no shadow. I think. We'll give it a try. If it doesn't work, I'm not gonna be mad about it. Because I know it's hard for me to line up dies. I'm just not a die girly. All right. And here is one of my bats. And I need the little, there he is. I need the little hangy bat. Okay. Now, tape. Brandon's never seen Hocus Pocus? What? I was over here doing my dies, and apparently I'm missing. Brandon, how have you never seen Hocus Pocus? We are the same age, sir. Oh, I have, but I didn't put that together. Okay, you're forgiven. So on my birthday, my mom's favorite movie was Dirty Dancing. And it is also my favorite movie, probably because as a little, we watched it numerous times, and my poor father with 3 daughters was forced to do The Lift so many times, too many times to count. Yeah, this I'm not what am I doing here? Am I doing it wrong? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I need the other one. Maybe this is if you just wanna cut it out without the stamp. I'm not entirely sure. Um, yeah, so anyway, so I wanted to watch it for my birthday. Um, Self-admittedly, is there some adult themes in that movie? There definitely are. But I was watching it. I had started watching it while because my birthday was on a Sunday, and that's when my daughter has swim lessons. So I started watching it while they were away at swim. And so then when they came home, it was already on. And then my little my little girl was immediately captivated by the movie. And so when I put her down for her nap, she was like, "Don't finish the movie without me." So on my birthday, I watched Dirty Dancing twice, and I got to do the lift with my own child with my own child, which was perfectly adorable. So um, yeah, my mom also loved Footloose, which that one, I mean, not that it wasn't good. I'm not saying it wasn't good. It's just not one of my favorite 80s movies. There's too many other ones. Um, Breakfast Club and Better Off Dead and Say Anything and there's so many. There's a lot. Okay. This one go like this? No, I bet it goes the other way. Grease is my sister's favorite movie. Um, I actually for her 30th birthday, Um, I bought her tickets because it was here, at Playhouse Square. So me and mom and, Kim went and saw Grease. That was when my oldest sister still lived in Tennessee. St. Elmo's Fire, Ferris Bueller, Bueller. Such yeah, there are just so many good movies, and they don't make movies like that anymore. I don't know why. I don't know why. They're just not as good. Okay. Why are you not liking me? Just stay where I put you. It's the tape, it's not the die. Maybe I just need more maybe I need more security? Maybe okay, let me do this. And then over here. Maybe that'll be better. My son believes his grandmother made him watch Grease every summer as a form of torture. That's hysterical. Well, Grease is another one that, like, if you're not paying attention, you may miss the adult themes, but it's definitely in there. It's definitely in there. And, like, in my house, my parents always just watched what they wanted to watch. You just my father, had just well, has just enormous hands, and especially when you're just a little. So for anything that I wasn't supposed to see, like, he just grabbed my face, like, just put his hand over my entire face, or would put his hands over my ears if it was language. But I mean, they sure didn't they didn't, not watch things because they weren't kid appropriate. Different time. All right, let me die cut these. So many. Lay those there. And I think I have to get the other. I do. That one is more what you'll hear. The Holy Grease Lightning song is very adultish. Correct. Yeah, I listen back to um I listened back to some of like the movies or songs that we listened to when we were younger, and I was like, "Ew, was supervising us?" And the answer is no one, because that just was not the generation. Like nobody was supervising us. You were left to your own devices. All right. So this one, I do need to cut my little. Well, where's my first one? There it is. Okay. And then there's that. And where's my skull? There he is. All right. So let's take these off. I need this little guy here. Yeah, no, exactly. No, nobody, Dawn. Nobody was watching us. But honestly, now, like, people are like, "Oh my gosh, are you good at math, Kelly?" No, Jeanette, I'm not. I'm terrible, girl. My math do not be mathin'. Um, like they're like, "Oh, how could you? It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?" Like that's bad parenting. But like honestly, I'd rather be doing that than the horrors of social media. Like that stuff's truly scary. Okay. All right. Now we just gotta get them in a little pile. And oh no, are we talking about Grease 2? Y'all know Grease 2 was trash. Like I like Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm not saying that she's not talented, but Grease 2 was not Grease 1. Um all right, so let's kind of lay this out and see how we're looking. All right. So we're gonna do our little. I do know I need some ground in here, so don't stress about that. I am aware. All right. So we're gonna have like our little shirt peeking out. Our little hat. Our little hat is gonna be. I need this card to be taller. Okay. So we'll do the little hat here. And then it's gonna do the little broom. Like it looks like. No, I did not have a crush on Michael. No. Michael was not for this girl. All right. So then the cat is going to be outside, and we're going to do the little pile of bones there. With the cat, maybe A little spider hanging down. Nope, too much. A bat, maybe. This tree is definitely going to be too much. Oh, The Lost Boys was so good. Okay. So I do need this to be taller. And all right. I need them to be the same length. I'm going to fit them next to each other. And I'm just going to cut them where the angle is. Okay. So now I can scoot this up and need I need a piece of black cardstock. But where would I put it? Nope. You have a hole cut out of you already. All right, let me. All right, now I gotta go digging around. There's green. That's wonderful. Okay, that is not the one that I want. This is. So this is why this is why my lives are so much longer because I'm just literally making it up on the fly. All right. So we're gonna do this up at the top. We're gonna make everything match. So that it goes all the way up to the tippy, tippy, tippy top. All right, let's glue this. Okay. All right. Yeah, Bonnie, this is, you're right. We do We do typically have to troubleshoot alone, but in Alive, we troubleshoot together. All right. So there's that. Looks like a doorway to nowhere. Looks like a doorway to nowhere, but that's cool. All right. So I am going to. Oh, you have your own peanut too? That's so cute. When we went to Mount Vernon for our anniversary, they have a coffee shop there called the Happy Bean. And so they had a little t-shirt that said Happy Little Bean on it. So I ended up getting it for for my daughter since I call her Jelly Bean. And sometimes that definitely does get shortened into just Bean. Okay. All right. So basically, I have glued this to a black piece of cardstock so that I can cover up those other die cuts. And also, there we go. Your peanut is Hunter and he'll be 21 in a week. Dawn's got a Hunter too. All right. So now this, I can do this with it and it'll look like it's peeking out of the doorway. And I just need to put some floor in there so she doesn't look like she's floating in outer space. And then maybe we'll have to do something down here. Okay, so let me scoot this. Yeah. I'm just going to grab the brown that's already sitting over here. This ground espresso. I'm just going to put some ground in here in the bottom. That's good enough. I just need something for them to sit on. Let me wipe this up. All right, so now put this back. Okay, so now we do have some like creepy little ground in the background. This is definitely out. It's just too busy. This, like, if we were doing this by itself, like, like kind of a view out the doorway, I think that would be really cute, but that's just not what our scenario is. All right, so we have our foot here, and then our skirt, and then our hat. With our little broom, which maybe we want to pull these out just a smidge. And then our broom will kind of sit back like that. Or maybe we have it balanced on the doorway. Nope, blocks too much of the shoe. Maybe I pull the shoe out more. This is how I talk myself through all my cards, just FYI. All right, see, I don't want that much of the skirt showing because I don't want it to look like she has no body. So maybe we do the broom on the inside, like that. Kicking her, okay, Allison kicking her leg out. I don't like that as much. It looks weird. All right, so I think we'll be in the best shape if we stamp the cat, stamp him in the background. And then maybe we could even do the spider, since now we have a doorway. We could do a spider like that. And then maybe like a bat. This bat is out now that we're not using the tree. Maybe we could just do like a bat or two. Let's figure out where we're going to put our sentiment. I'm feeling like this is a good layout. We obviously need a floor. But let me, there they are. Okay. I think these are cute. I do think so. Barbara made it like the skirt is so pretty and it'll hardly show. Like that is one of the things that like if you like scene building. Oh, what just happened there? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. I think what has happened is I think my phone has died. So I'm going to run and get a charger. Um, so just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can fix the problem. I had never had that happen before, but I don't think my phone fully charged last night. So I think that is probably what the issue is. All right, and let me bring my tower over here. Okay. All right. Now let's see if I can get it to turn back on. I'm just gonna unclip it for a second. All right. So while we while we figure out that, I am going to figure out the sentiment while my phone is restarting. All right. So I think like here's our options. I do like the little hocus pocus one. So I think I'm going to use that. Oh, the dog. Yeah, no, she's completely unaffected by anything. All right, so if we stamp the little hocus pocus here, we have our light source, and then we can do the bats. And I think that would be good. Okay. Still starting. All right. So in the meantime, I am also going to cut just a little bit of a floor for the inside. So I just need something to go there. Maybe do I have a piece of gray already? Oh, I do. Good. Okay. We just need to make it a little bit darker but that'll be okay. All right, so I feel like it's safe to get the things lined up where I'm going to stamp them while we are waiting. While we are waiting. Dude, what are you doing? Come on. Okay, I think I have to. All right, unfortunately, I think it just does not have, like, I'm going to have to let it charge for a few minutes. So here's our options. I can finish the card while I chit chat with you. You will not be able to see it, but I will be able to show you the final product. Or we can just go ahead and end things and I will. Was there a thing that just floated by? Did anybody else see that? Weird. Anyway, or I can just finish it and then I will post pictures in the group. So you let me know what you would like me to do. And I am going to. Okay, I'm not crazy, right? You saw that. That was weird. That's really weird. All right. So it seems to be the vote is for the chit chatting. All right, I'm here for that. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe that would be my mother would never, ever, ever miss a video, a live, an anything. Even when she was in hospice, I was doing a live. I was doing a honeybee live, and my sister got her all set up so that she, from her hospital bed, could watch me on the TV. She was super supportive. She was the best. All right. So I'm going to do that. And then I think actually I'm even going to do the bats flat. Bye, Betsy. All right. So, you know what? I'm not going to do the bats because I don't know where my other stuff is going to be lined up yet. And I don't want it to be crazy. Okay. All right, so we're going to stamp these guys in black. Oh, Maria, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It is, there are some days that I still feel like I can't believe that this is my reality. And then there are other days where I make it through okay. And then I think, like, how am I supposed to make it through a day? Like, shouldn't I have had a harder time? Grief is a weird thing, man. Okay. One more time, because you guys know I do love the bold black. All right. Okay. So we got both of these stamped down. This is where we're at right now. So now, I gotta screw down. Okay. I found this in my stash. Come back over here. This little gray strip. So I'm gonna use that. Oh, look, she's awake now. Do you see her? Do you see her back there? Something has awoke the princess. I'm going to use this to create my floor. Barbara, I rewound a bit, so I can't tell you what it was. So, okay, so like as long as I'm not losing my mind, that it was seen by not just myself. All right, so I'm going to glue this down, and then I'm going to color it. That's what I'm going to do. Because we did have to raise it up a bit, and that's okay. All right. So I'm just going to fit it right up against my doorway. And then, now do I want to leave it like that? Let's see. And then her little foot can be kind of like stepping out around the corner. That makes her foot look enormous. Oh, scale is important. Okay. We're going to trim it. So one part looks inside, one part looks outside. So this is what we got going on right now. And you can see on the other side, well, you could if my camera would focus, that it is too big. So we are going to trim it down so that it matches our A2 size card. There we go. And then, like I said before, I will be I love the coloring also because I grew up in Cleveland. Your taste. Oh, you grew up here. That's so nice. It does seem like a lot of people have ties to Cleveland or the Cleveland area. I don't really know why that is. Like I would never move because my family is here. But I won't lie. Someday, like because this is my job, because this is my job and I can do this from anywhere. Someday I do hope to maybe be a snowbird. All right, so now we've got our floor on there, and I am going to add shading to that because it's too light. So I'm going to add some shading to that, keeping in mind where my light source is. That was a 9. I need a 7. Okay. You're moving here and we're going to build a compound. Girl, I'm just saying, find me a house I can afford. So, Dawn Lee, I'm Lady Gone. Girl, we're still here, so don't feel bad about it. We had some issues with my phone dying because I was taking too long to make this card. All right, so we've added some shadows. So now here is what we are looking like. And so now we're just chit-chatting while we finish up this card. Yeah, because my phone is only at 6%. Okay, so now I'm going to start putting in my things. And see, now because you get to see me when when I'm crafting, you're going to get to see all the weird things that I do, like hold my glue in my mouth. Okay. So I talk to myself I hold my glue in my mouth. And okay, her neck. So I need to adjust the angle of the skirt because I can't see any. There it is. Okay, that's better. I couldn't see any of the can I move your pen? But you have to bring a survival skill. That is true in case there is an apocalypse. Uh, you have to bring a survivor skill. Dawn's the gardener. All right. So here's my hat. I can't do it too far down because maybe like that. Like she's literally just supposed to be peeking out. That's good, I think. Some of you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, you barely see any of all the things that we colored. And I totally get it. But that was the whole point of the scene. So don't be too mad about it. I like to show you how to color it, but then the whole point of the scene was for her to just be peeking out of the doorway. Okay. I can be your doomsday prepper. I can also shoot and hunt with a crossbow. Nana, you're in. You're in the compound. Okay, so here's where we're at so far. Which, like, you definitely could do this without the doorway, but I thought the doorway was, like, cute. Yeah, see, Dawn and I are on the same page. You're in. Nana, you're in. All right, so now I'm going to trim off my excess. I know it will break our hearts, but that's okay because it's stamped. So we have the opportunity to use that image in a completely different way another time. So, all right, so now I've trimmed off the excess. I am going to blend this into my background because I have to, honestly. Like, it's just, I have to. I can't just leave it. It would drive me crazy. All right. And this down here, I feel like, so sometimes, like we put that brown on the floor and that brown goes over that blue. So it creates this color that's like a little bit almost greenish. And so sometimes layering the like different colors over top of each other will help you get a closer blend to the ink blended colors in the background. Just something to keep in mind. You made a hat card a long while ago. The hats were stacking. I have made that card more than a few times. I just love the way you color. Thank you, Pamela. I know exactly which one you're talking about. I made it when I still worked for Simon Says Stamp, and it was one of their Halloween sets. And it is a totally adorable card. This set actually has a couple of different hats. Maybe I should do like a remake of that card. Because it was several years ago. I haven't worked for Simon Says Stamp since 2018. 2018, I think. So yeah, maybe I'll revisit that one. It was a good one. I thought it was cute. Okay. All right. Just trying to blend this in. I know the white die cuts don't bother everybody, but especially in a scene, I can't do it. That's a no thank you for me. go. Denise, you made it. You're in, Nana. Leave a few skills for the rest of us. I love it. That's hysterical. Listen, we can't put all of our eggs in one basket. We need multiple skilled people. All right. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that just be the best thing ever? If we could just hang out and make cards all day long and like have lunch and chit chat and like that would be so fun. Yeah, we're making a Halloween card, but my phone died. So in fact, I'm going to. All right. So now we've got them blended in mostly. And so I'm gonna see if I can. All right, we're up to 14%. So I'm gonna see if it'll let me do it. Because last time I even tried, it turned off my phone again. So all I do is cook and sew, and those are skills. Those are skills. All right. So now we've got those going on, and we're gonna do the little room there. So let's glue that down. I Zoom every Saturday with my sister and my aunt. We Zoom all day. Everyone loves it. I love that. So you guys know that I love to play games, and my grandmother loved to play games, and so I would spend time just playing games with my grandmother, like all throughout my youth, and because of that, I know I know so much about my family history. Like all the stories, good, bad, and ugly. And I love it. I love that I got to spend that time with her, and I love that because of that, I know those stories. I'm crafty, but I don't know how to use a washing machine. Girl, don't you wish we all didn't know how? Dawn and I always talk whenever we're on the phone together. It's always like, what are you making for dinner? What are you making for dinner? Like, story of our lives. Which, by the way, what are you guys making for dinner? Yesterday, so I'm on this debt, you guys know, that I like because of my Hashimoto's or whatever, but I have to be on a new diet. Can I tell you that yesterday I had to use my air fryer to make my own breadcrumbs? Like, I get wanting to be healthy, don't get me wrong, but like literally my own breadcrumbs. Because there's just so much like trash that they put in food that's just completely unnecessary. That it's not there for flavor. It's just like sugar for sugar's sake. And so I had to make my own breadcrumbs. I did order because normally I just use regular. I was making Salisbury steak, by the way. And so I did order some panko breadcrumbs because that is not the case for those. So I did order those. So then the next time I won't have to make my own. But now, since I made my own breadcrumbs, I made too many breadcrumbs. So now I'm going to use them to make meatballs because my kid loves spaghetti. Loves spaghetti. Okay, so I need to figure that out. Are we back on here? All right, you are on. Okay, let me see. Oh, you're still starting. You're the worst. Okay, so now I can do the gray underneath here. Do the gray to blend that in. And then I think the rest of it's black. What did I do with my black? Did I put it back away or did I put it over here? Okay. My husband thinks when he says, let's throw something on the grill, he's picking what we're having for dinner. So I will say this, like my dear, wonderful husband lived alone for quite a few many years before we got together. And so he is perfectly capable of cooking. We do have very different tastes. But he informed me recently that when you are a man, when you're a man, that you have two choices. You can either so here's our little broom being blended into the background. That you have a choice as a man. You can either get really into smoking meats as you get older, or you have to become a world history buff. And so he has gone with smoking meats. And he has a Blackstone. So he is perfectly capable of cooking dinner, and I am not mad about it. All right, so now let me see if I can get. In order to do this, though, I do have to mute myself again. Otherwise, we'll get feedback. So you won't be able to hear me for a minute. Okay? Okay. Can you hear me now? I might have to bring you down a little closer because my cord doesn't reach. Let me know if you can hear me. This is like the most, the most ghetto live stream ever. All right, hold on. Because my cord just is not long enough. I do have a longer cord, but obviously I was, panicking and trying to get it. So, all right, how's that? And then I can take this off, right? Because you can still hear me. All right, are we back in business? Are we back? Are we back in business? Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, so clearly I've made some progress while we were chit-chatting. So I've glued in my broom. I've glued in my floor. She's kind of peeping out. This is garbage. I am going to put my little spider over here as kind of like a little bit of balance. And we have to do our skull and crossbones. I'm not giving up on that. I still want that. Okay. So here is the thing with the spider. The spider is stamped in black. And so I still want him to be seen. So for this part of it, this string part that's coming down, I am going to color, well, I'm going to glue him first. So I'm going to glue him and then I'm going to still color that part in black, like where it should be black. But then, we're going to do that white gel pen. And that is what's going to help him be visible. I got to get this lined up on my background so I know where I'm going. Up higher, down lower. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to do the lightest brown just to get my edge. Actually, this might be all on the door frame except for that part right there. Okay. Okay. Now, obviously, I need to make him a little bit darker because my door frame is darker. So we're going to go right through here. Okay. Listen, hockey, I also like I have a plan, a game. I have so many plans for so many things. I do have a plan for a summary card that I still haven't had the opportunity to make. Um, so like I'm bouncing all over the place. So don't beat yourself up if you're not there yet. It's totally fine. All right. And then this side, we are gonna have like this up here, we are gonna do black and also over here. Okay. Even then, he's still a little light. So like, my dude, you gotta blend into the doorway. You can't just be out there doing your own thing. Okay. All right. And then this one, I'll blend in once I get it glued down and I know exactly where it's gonna sit on the background. Um, I hate all the Halloween stamps I have. They're all too dark. Nana, tell me what kind of Halloween stamps you have. I'm very interested in that because there might be a way that we could use them um, and lighten them up. All right. So we got the little pile of bones here by the cat. And I still want to do the cat. I still want to do his little eyes like electric green. All right. And then we got a little pile of bones. I don't think that the bats are going to go. Like, I think they're just going to be a bit too big. That's okay. We'll use them for something else. All right. So let's get this glued down. So with these, when we glue them down, oh, I also need to do a little bit of I need to do a little bit of a shadow here underneath my cat. Light source is coming this way, so the shadow would be going this way. It doesn't have to be perfection. It's just, we're just giving the illusion. Okay, so now we're going to glue this one this way. Okay, and then we have to blend them before we can glue the next one on top. So just like this. So I know, let's talk about that. So I know like Kelly used to do um like the free classes. Um I have not done one yet. Is that something you guys would be interested in doing? Maybe doing like a little scene, maybe with the holiday coming up, maybe we could do like a little holiday scene. I think that would be super cute. Thoughts on that? And then we could all hang out. Yes, Dawn, these are kind of like classes. I totally agree. I totally agree with you on that. But with the other ones, oh look, it's a dry marker because I never use this. Just I never use this color. All right, so now I have to figure out um something for that. Um, but with the other classes, like you do have the opportunity to like look and see what we're going to use beforehand, so you can kind of like craft along. Um, So if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, let me know and I'll try to put something together. Or if you think maybe the holidays would be too busy, maybe you would like to do a different kind of time frame. Um, Or scenes are not your thing. Maybe you want to do flowers. What are you guys feeling like? This needs to be darker. That green is good, but it needs to be a smidge darker. Okay. Okay. There we go. And now we do the next one. Okay. So for this one, we're going to come out a little bit. No, I want to flip it. I want to flip it so it's not exactly the same. I want the little one to be on top. And we're going to extend that out just a little bit. Scene. Any card, everyday card, scene. Okay. Well, it seems like you guys are on board to give something a try. So, um, I will definitely start trying to put something together. Um, I gotta, why do I keep, there they are. I'm like, why do I keep using the same markers? I love your scene cards because you show so many ink blending techniques. Well, thank you, Susan. Um, I do try. I try with all of my card making. I try to show lots of different techniques. That's why I said, like, when we started this one, like, I know Halloween isn't everybody's vibe, but like you may find something in here that you can apply that technique, um, for something else. Okay. And then our little skull. So it's so funny to me, like, some people are like, absolutely not. I don't want Halloween cards. But then the people who were like into Halloween are like, this is their this is their jam. My middle sister is very much like, I love all the Halloweens. I don't send them really. I mean, like my sister loves them. And then okay, so like Pamela, I think Thanksgiving cards are sort of a waste of time. Yeah, I totally. Oh, and you were born on Thanksgiving. um, yeah, like it can definitely be different for, each person. So like, maybe you like making Halloween cards just because one, you like it. And like honestly, I feel like that's a good enough reason to make any kind of card. If like that's your vibe, then yeah, I say make it. But if you have like grandkids, sometimes people, will give their grandkids little Halloween treats and, put a card with it. Or like I used to do them. I have to color in this area too. This is important to not forget that area. Um, but like when I did my youth group, like we would I need to go with the B99. Um, Yeah, see exactly what Dawn just said. I don't send the cards, I just wanna make the card. Same, same. But, like, for, like, this one, like, my oldest sister, like, she has little grands, so if she wants to give them, like, a little treat or whatever for the holidays, like, she'll take these cards, and do that with them. I just make them because I wanna make them, and to me, they're like little art pieces, and I would totally, like, decorate my little entryway table with something like this. Okay, so we've said no to this. So really, I think we just need to, and I think maybe if we pop this up, that would look super cool. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right. I got my 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 big old wheel of foam tape. So I do have some fall stuff that I have picked out. I will probably try to maybe do that for our Monday card, a little fall card. Plus the fall cards are just nice, like, not even necessarily to use for Thanksgiving, but, like, if you host, um, it's nice to when you give, like, a little hostess gift to give a little card with it or, things like that. Like, it's just cute. Last year, I went to a Halloween party with one of my previous coworkers invited me to, um, and, like, I did bring her, like, a little bottle of wine and put, like, a little Halloween card with it. Okay. So now I'm gonna have to stand up so that I can line this up and get it. Okay, there we go. And that one is lined up. All right. So now it is like a little doorway. See, we got some popped up action. And now we can go in and you know that we're gonna do well, I gotta fix that real quick. I gotta blend us in there. I like watching Tim Holtz tag series. Oh, that's something we could do. We're heading into the holidays. Would you guys like to do something like that? Like where we use tags? We do a tag a week for our little lives. That would be fun with different like techniques. Right. Okay, so now, oh, so you guys are totally excited about the tags. That's fun. And that would give us so many opportunities to do like different techniques on like a smaller scale. So that, yeah, that's fun. Okay, we will definitely revisit that. I have to, don't let me forget to put my glue cap back on, y'all. You know that I will be just not doing it. And then I'll have the glue that I can't use. Remember when we had the glue that went everywhere? All right. So now I need, here we go. All right. So we're going to add some shimmer to our moon. And then I'm going to add some shimmer to like where the places where the light is going to touch, all shimmery moonlight and such. Okay. And then here's my gel pen. So I'm going to use my gel pen, of course, to create my little spider web string. And then I'm going to add some highlights onto my little spider legs so we can see him kind of peeking out. I'm going to do some white in the cat's eyes. I'm going to do a little highlight here. Definitely I'm grabbing that kind of corner. These things here where the light is going to hit all along here. And even this one, top of the shoe for sure. Our little skull and crossbones. Okay. And I am, excuse me, sir. And again, I am going to add some gemstones here because I just like them. The summer card I'm making for my sister, it will be over embellished, of course. Listen, you should make it as extra as you like. Okay, so we're going to do 3 there, 2 there. That should be good. Okay. Mm, 1 and I do need to do a slightly bigger one. That's a little too big. This one will be good. Okay. And then a little one. Okay. This is the rainbow rhinestones. All right. So there's our little scene card. It only took us 2.5 hours. A phone dying. And we were back in business. So all right. So now we gotta pick a winner. So nobody leave yet. I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of people who left when the phone died. But if you're still here, we're gonna pick a winner. Okay? All right. All right. Nana, you are the winner. Congratulations. Please make sure you send a email to Betsy and she will get you're going to send it here to the customer care at honeybeestamps.com and she will get you your gift card so you can save it for the next release or you can use it now for some hocus pocus thing. So thank you. I know this was a long one. I know that my phone died. I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I think the card came out really, really cute. I will definitely brainstorm an idea for a class. Pamela, I want the card. If maybe we should do that. Maybe sometimes we should raffle off the card and then I can make sure somebody else mails it, not me, because I won't mail it. You'll never see it. But maybe, so yeah, maybe we'll do that sometime. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate your time. Um, and I know it was a long one, so thank you for hanging in there. All right. I will see you guys on Monday for the premiere. Okay. Have a nice rest of your week. Bye.